That whole night, I literally just paced back and forth in that cell, and I just cried, and I just wept, and I just asked God, please change me. God, please help me. God, I don't want to be this way anymore. And I'd sit down on the bench, and I'd start to fall asleep, and I would realize I was falling asleep, and I'd get afraid because I thought if I fell asleep, I'd never wake up again. And so I'd get up, and I remember banging my heads on the bars because I was so exhausted and so tired, but just so afraid to fall asleep. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I called to the police officer and I said, hey, can I make a phone call? And I came to the realization that I couldn't go back to my friends, that I couldn't just go back and live my life like it had always been lived. That I came to the realization I needed to get to a church. I had to get to a church, and I had to talk to a minister or a pastor or a father or whatever you call them. I just need to get to one. I just got to talk to them because they're the professional Christians, right? And so I called some relatives of mine, some cousins who lived in Muskoka, because they were the only like strong, crazy Christians that I really knew. And so I called them and said, listen, it's your cousin. Can you come and pick me up? I need to get to church. And I think they were like, who is this? It's your cousin. I need to get to a church. I got to talk to a minister guy or girl or whatever, but I got to talk to them. And so they sent someone to pick me up. They drove me, and I remember getting to the church. I went straight to the church from the holding cell, and just being so tired and so afraid. And I remember walking in, and this young pastor, I think he'd just become the senior pastor there, and in I walk. And I'm thinking, like, what do I got to do? Where do I sign? Where do I serve? Like, what is it? What is it got to take? Is there a mountain I got to climb? Like, I mean, do I got to memorize something? Like, you just give it to me. Is there a 10-step program? Like, what do I got to do to get in with God? Because I was sure he was going to kill me. And so I'm expressing my concern and my need for God to this pastor. And he sits down with me and he just talks to me about God's grace. And he just begins to talk to me about how God doesn't want to kill me. Though I am right, I probably am deserving of it. And he just began to explain to me how Jesus Christ came and died on a cross. When he did that, that all my sin and all that separated me from the Father was taken care of. It was paid for. That even though I had a debt to God that I could never pay, that I could never account for, that I could never make up for, that when Jesus died, that my sin was taken, placed on the cross, was crucified with Jesus. And that I no longer need to fear death, because guess what? When Jesus died on the cross, he didn't stay dead, but he rose again from the grave. That there is life and hope even in the grave. That we can face death with confidence. That there's no fear. Because Christ has conquered.